Hi, it's Greg from 180 Markets. We have with us today Pippa Leary, Managing Director of Swift Media. And investors, if you like companies where the revenue is actually exceeding their market cap, then this one is for you. And by the way, if you want to hear more interviews with other unique companies, head on over to our website, 180markets.com.au, and we'll put the link below. Thanks, and welcome, Philippa. I am excited today to have with us Pippa Leary, Managing Director of Swift Media, which should really be named Swift Technology because it's a tech company. And she's going to talk all about the business and how she has really streamlined the company, focusing on hard metrics, recurring revenue, and verticals where she can really scale. Enough with me talking about this. Pippa, welcome to 18 Minutes with 180 Markets.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks a lot.
Hey, Pippa, everybody's got a story and a background. In a couple of minutes, can you just tell people, how did you get to where you are today?
Sure. I've got a history of commercial innovation in the digital media space that stretches back, dare I say it, 25 years to my first job with Microsoft back in 1997. So I was one of the first employees in that joint venture that Microsoft did with PBL, and that became 9MSN. So I worked there in various commercial product roles till I was headhunted by Fairfax 5 years later, and they brought me in specifically to build out their nascent digital news network. So the Sydney Morning Herald and Age that you see today, that was all built by my team. I finished 10 years at Fairfax as the managing director of the media division. And then after a short break having kids, I was then appointed as the CEO of a programmatic trading joint venture between, funnily enough, Fairfax and 9MSN. And then after that, I kind of got sucked back into Channel 9, and I was there with a very specific purpose. It was to rebuild their digital sales team. They'd lost a lot of focus. But while I was there, the thing that interested me was creating Australia's first fully addressable advertising solution that works off the TV screen, off the big screen. And that's basically what is powering the success of 9Now today. So in a nutshell, I've always looked to build digital products that are unique and differentiated and hence profitable and scalable. And what appealed to me about Swift was that, they were clearly operating in some deep verticals and they had some high barriers to entry. And having lived through successive waves of commoditization and disruption in digital media, Swift clearly had the advantage of, operating in these deep verticals. They had high quality recurring revenue, and adding to that, they had really strong capabilities. They had scalable technology, and they had a leading position in mining and resources vertical, all of which I felt could be extended strategically to other verticals that also had strong tailwinds, like residential aged care or retirement living. And that's how I ended up there.
Absolutely. And within Swift, for investors, because I don't think a lot of people quite know the company as well as they should, can you just give a slight overview before we get into those verticals?
Sure. I think the best way to understand Swift and how it fits into the whole, communications mix is to think of us as a specialist media company, a specialist technology company. And we supply communication and entertainment solutions into closed loop environments. That closed loop is important. The closed loop environments is what gives us the really aggressive output deals from Hollywood studios. So, we drop these, we build the networks and we drop these systems into places like remote mining camps, quarantine camps. Howard Springs is one of ours. We do a lot of aged care facilities, and recently we've just started fitting out retirement villages. So today we service over 60,000 rooms across a number of all those different verticals. But what we're dropping in there is contextually relevant content, as well as individualized room by room communications. And as a result, we've got multiple revenue streams. So we have the project revenue when we build and install the systems. But more importantly, we're after that ongoing SaaS style recurring revenue. So we charge a per room per month fee. And then we also do the ongoing support and service on many of those contracts. So up in the Pilbara, where we work a lot, we actually have on the ground people living there, and we can get to a mine within 4 hours. So that's a real differentiator for us. Typically, our contract lengths are around 3 to 5 years. And what's important to note is it's the facility managers who pay the fee to view. It's not the individual guests or residents, because we offer them a service. And these days they use that as a way to attract quality. And then, as I mentioned, Swift operates in verticals where you need deep domain expertise. And then we've translated that into very customer-centric product design. And that, the more customer-centric it becomes, the more you can rely on this ongoing high-quality recurring revenue.
Yeah, that's a very good overview. And, Pippa, within Swift, obviously your product could be used in many, many, many situations. But then, as we've discussed before, you get lost in the shuffle. Can you just tell people how, strategically, you're really trying to be very targeted and very focused? Can you just discuss that for a couple of minutes?
Yeah, sure. So when I arrived at Swift, they were operating in 11 different verticals. Which for a very small little microcap is very difficult to do. And what it meant was that they were behaving very opportunistically. They were taking what was a core mining product and basically just shoving it into a number of different verticals. So what I did as soon as I arrived was I did a deep dive into each of the verticals and I assessed which of them would be profitable and scalable. The answer came back pretty quickly. Mining and resources and aged care overwhelmingly came up because they had such strong structural tailwinds behind them. So since then, what we've done is we've been discontinuing any business that's not core, that's not profitable, and is not scalable. So in March of this year, we divested a part of the business which had been acquired in 2019 called Medical Media. That's where the media part of our name comes from. But it was not core. It was a media business, not a SaaS style recurring revenue business. We've divested that. It gave us access to about 25 million shares in a publicly listed company, which was great. The real reason we did it was it means that from a management perspective, we could focus all of our attention on chasing high quality recurring revenue. So everything in the Swift business has now overnight become more simple, more efficient, and more focused. And that's really kind of where you'll see us operating. And that's obviously been a real competitive, a real advantage for us in our competitive landscape.
Yeah, absolutely. Because so many people forget that business is generally about execution, execution, and execution. Yeah. And, obviously from your background, you're very familiar with people hitting numbers, quarterly results, in fact, and things of that nature, but you're by the metrics. Can you just discuss about your view on, you're creating a SaaS model and you're also very, very focused on a total contract value, which measures not just is it a piece of revenue, but what is the lifetime value of it in terms of profitability? Can you just discuss like your thought process around that?
Yeah, I mean, Swift as a specialist technology company, our entire focus, you're right, Greg, is building SaaS style recurring revenue. When I got here, they were all over the place. They were grabbing at any job opportunistically that they could, and they weren't really analyzing what was the margin and strategically how was that serving the business. So now that we've stopped doing that, the metric that we're totally concerned with is, as you say, total contract value. So we've become less concerned about bidding on jobs that are construction only, and we're instead prioritizing jobs that have that high quality revenue stream over longer periods of time. So that means we also have a really strong focus on re-signing the clients we already have. So we have 35,000 rooms in mining and resources today. We have an absolute dominant position in iron ore, which is fortunate. They are the biggest mines out there. So you really need a scalable solution with those guys. So what we're doing now is we're looking at how we re-sign our current contracts and then how we extend the length of those terms. And so we announced this morning, I don't know if you saw, but we announced to the ASX that we've just bought and we're releasing our next generation casting product. And this is incredibly exciting because it means we can go to our current clients. Everybody wants the ability to offer choice, bring your service, bring your own device. But it's very difficult to do in a cost-effective and a privacy-compliant way. So what we've done is we've bought this solution. We've done a deal with Stream Vision, and it's called Streamcast. We can very easily integrate it into our current product. We can then go back to our current clients and say, okay, here's casting ability. Oh, but with casting ability comes much higher bandwidth costs. So here's a bandwidth management solution that will allow you to optimize and manage bandwidth going forward. Because what people don't realize is the remote mining villages, bandwidth is really expensive. So if you've got 2,000 guys coming off shift at the same time, which a lot of the iron ore mines do,
Sure.
it's prohibitively expensive. So we manage that for them. Because we have all these first release Hollywood movies, which we have on a very aggressive release schedule, same as the airlines. So what we do is on the screens, when they all come off, we highlight all the first release movies. We have already saved those first release movies locally at the mine. So when someone watches that instead of a streaming service, it literally costs the mine nothing. So we do a massive job on bandwidth optimization for them.
Right.
So again, yeah, it's really, really exciting technology, and it works incredibly well in retirement villages as well. So we're very, very excited about that.
Yeah, and it's obvious also that you're getting deep into the weeds and creating high barriers to entry on the, offering something that other people can't.
Yeah.
Pippa, you've really already changed the business, and you're obviously foreshadowing, how much you're streamlining it. What would be your idea for Swift? For what would be success look like for you over the next 12 months?
Oh, for us, I've really streamlined the business and got everybody focused on this whole idea of TCV. So for us, and any investors who, are interested in us, they need to watch how we start reporting TCV. We've rebuilt both our product development team and our sales capabilities. We've strengthened the balance sheet. And now, again, all we want is that high quality recurring revenue. The best way to gauge whether we're being successful there is to watch how our TCV grows over the next couple of months. So, we're really interested in winning ongoing contracts, which mean that we supply ongoing communication and entertainment systems into either remote mining, residential aged care, retirement villages, or quarantine camps, and defence facilities we're now looking at doing. All of that has got very strong structural tailwinds. But the other key metric for us is retention. As I said earlier, retaining key clients and signing them for longer contracts is reflected in our overall TCV. So right now we've got a 94% retention rate in our mining business. And last year we renewed 17 of our 18 clients. And there's only one we didn't renew. They went into receivership, but we're already kind of talking with the administrator. But what we need to do with all of those clients that we're turning over is now go back to them and say, guess what? We've now got an omni-platform casting solution that will also manage your bandwidth costs, and it will be critical in your ability to attract skilled workers onto your mines. So, that makes us very confident about the next 6 to 12 months for Swift.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, you have a 94% retention rate, which, then leads to recurring revenue. I believe that right now we're kind of sitting, the last financials around 11 out of 17 million. So, over half of your revenue already is recurring. And, and I could tell by that, as you said, by that retention rate, as long as that stays high, it's going to lead to, to very good numbers. Pippa, we have to keep the interview short, unfortunately. Do you have any closing remarks for the audience for Swift?
Well, probably that, Swift has got this laser-like focus on what is important. It puts us in a different competitive set. Once upon a time, we would have been compared to companies like Aquira and R Group and DXC, all because they're bidding on these construction jobs. We're kind of leaving that behind and saying, we really want to focus strategically on anything that's got all this ongoing revenue. We'll only pick up jobs if we think they're going to lead to that. So you will see us over the next couple of months subtly change the focus of the company.
The mix.
But the most exciting thing is that the casting solution, it's robust. It allows us to do privacy. We can go back to some of our current clients that have, say, 2,000 rooms, and we can say, you can take the casting solution. We don't need to make any change to the in-room hardware. We can literally flick a switch and give you casting. So it's incredibly potent and exciting for us. So it's really a watch this space now.
Excellent. Pippa, thank you very much and appreciate your time.
No problem.
Bye-bye.